Get ready to set sail on a journey through the massive world of oil transportation. These incredible vessels are the unsung heroes behind delivering the energy we need across the globe. As demand for oil has skyrocketed, these giants have gotten bigger and bolder. And today, we're counting down the top 15 largest oil tankers that rule the seas. Let's kick off our adventure with number 15, the Chevron Voyager series, a true maritime marvel that's breaking barriers in size and efficiency. Let's dive deeper into our top 15 list and meet Chevron's Voyager series, a trio of behemoths that are still going strong. These very large crude carriers, or VLCCs for short, might not be the largest on our countdown, but they're still carrying an incredible load. Each can hold about 2 million barrels of oil. That's enough fuel to power millions of cars for weeks. Built by South Korea's Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering in 2019, these three tankers, Houston Voyager, Pascagoula Voyager, and San Ramon Voyager, are a testament to human innovation and the crucial role they play in keeping our world moving. Now we've got some corrections to make. It turns out our Chevron Voyager tankers weren't built by Daewoo after all. They were actually built by Moran Tankers in Greece. And it's not just one of them that's under the Bahamas flag, but all three. The Houston Voyager and Pascagoula Voyager have identical specs: 1,102 feet long and a dead weight of 319,000 tons. Meanwhile, their sibling San Ramon Voyager is just shy with a dead weight of 318,000 tons. And now let's get to our countdown. Next up at number 14, we've got the Balaimia. Get ready to be blown away by the massive Balaimia, coming in at number 14 on our countdown. This incredible oil tanker stretches an impressive 1,359 feet from bow to stern and packs a gross tonnage of 274,000 tons, making it the second largest of its kind ever built. Hailing from France's Shell Maritime Society and crafted by Chantier d'Atlantic, this ULCC's ultra-large crude carrier was a real giant on the seas when it first entered service back in 1976. Balaimia had a sibling, Pierre Guillaumat, but unfortunately for our massive tanker, the oil market took a dive during its operational years, and its enormous size made navigating certain areas a challenge, ultimately leaving this beauty sailing for only a decade until 1986. But Balaimia's epic journey came to an end when it was laid up in Norway back in '84, marking the final bow for this oil giant after just a decade at sea. Following its retirement, the massive tanker made its way to South Korea, where it met its fate and was scrapped. And now, let's dive into our next superstar, number 13. The DHT Colt. This massive crew carrier or very large crude carrier, a VLCC, is a relatively new kid on the block, having been built by Daewoo Shipping and Marine Engineering Corporation in South Korea back in 2018. Let's get up close and personal with the incredible DHT Colt. This modern marvel boasts an impressive double-hull design for enhanced safety, and it doesn't have a traditional propulsion system. This tanker is gearless, baby. Built in 2018 with cutting-edge maritime tech, the DHT Colt can reach top speeds while minimizing its environmental footprint. Now, you might be wondering who's at the helm of this oil carrier sensation. It's none other than DHT Management, an independent crude oil tanker company that knows how to keep things sailing smoothly. The DHT Colt proudly flies the Hong Kong flag and packs a serious punch with its whopping 163,000-ton carrying capacity. Let's dive into some mind-blowing stats. The DHT Colt can cruise at an impressive 11.2 knots, making it a speedy addition to the seas. And get this, she stretches an incredible 1,102 feet from bow to stern. Now, let's shift gears and explore another oil tanker giant, Pierre Guillaumat. Built in 1977, this massive vessel was part of an elite group known as the Battle-class supertankers. As one of only four, it held a prestigious title, Named after a French politician, the Pierre Guillaumat measured an astonishing 1,359 feet in length and boasted a whopping gross tonnage of 274,000 tons. Talk about massive. Let's take a closer look at the Pierre Guillaumat's operational life. Despite being a massive tanker, it faced a major limitation. Its enormous size made it impossible to navigate through the Suez and Panama canals. That severely restricted its port options. The tanker had a brief change in ownership when Hyundai Corporation snapped it up in 1983, renaming it Olsen Master. But unfortunately, its time was short-lived as it met the scrapyard fate that very same year. Now buckle up for some record-breaking action with Esso Atlantic. This Japanese-built behemoth, crafted by Hitachi's Zuzan Corporation, sailed under the flag of Esso Tankers, and here's what's truly mind-blowing. Upon its completion, Esso Atlantic became one of an elite 7 ships worldwide that could carry a staggering deadweight capacity of over 500,000 tons. That's a serious title to hold as a world record holder. Let's dive deeper into Esso Atlantic's incredible stats. This Japanese powerhouse boasted an impressive deadweight tonnage of 516,000 tons and a gross tonnage of around 259,000 tons, making it a true giant of the seas. Despite its massive size, it spent 25 years in service from 1977 to 2002. However, like Pierre Guillaumat before it, Esso Atlantic also faced navigation challenges, unable to squeeze through the Panama and Suez canals or even the English Channel. After a move to the Bahamas in 1983, this record-breaking tanker kept sailing until its final journey ended in 2002, when it was sent for scrapping after an incredible career. Now, let's set our sights on Esso Atlantic's successor, Eagle Trader. Get ready to meet one of the biggest players on the seas. Eagle Trader is an absolute behemoth, a crude carrier that's part of Mewell Tank Ship Management Asia. This Japanese powerhouse has a game-changing feature: it can run on methanol, thanks to its double-engine setup. Built in 2018 by Mitsui Engineering and Shipbuilding, this massive oil tanker measures an astonishing 1,112 feet long and boasts a deadweight capacity of 312,000 tons. Currently sailing under the Japanese flag, Eagle Trader is one of the largest tankers out there, so keep your eyes peeled if you ever spot it on the horizon. And now, let's set sail for our next stop, the dynamic duo that is Globe Tick Tokyo and Globe Tick London. Next up, we've got a pair of titans that are basically twins. Meet Globe Tick Tokyo and her sister ship, Globe Tick London. These two supertankers were the ultimate ocean giants back in the day, with the Tokyo holding the title for the largest tanker in 1972. But don't count out her sibling just yet. When the London was launched a year later, she barely edged out Tokyo by a tiny margin of 276 deadweight tons. Despite this small difference, both sisters had an incredible capacity to hold 3.65 million barrels each. Built by Ishikawa Jima Harama Heavy Industries in Japan and owned by Globe Tick Tankers, these vessels were the epitome of maritime might, and we can't wait to see what's next on our list. Let's dive into our next duo, the Birch Emperor and her sister ship, the Birch Empress. These two tankers might have shared an identical birth year of 1975 and a Japanese builder, but they've got some differences that add to their unique story. While both vessels were ocean powerhouses in their time, the Empress outlived her twin brother by decades, going on to live a life twice as long. Talk about making waves. Their claim to fame being two of the largest tankers on the high seas, and we're hyped to see what other maritime marvels are waiting for us next. Now, let's size up these maritime giants. The Birch Emperor boasted an impressive gross tonnage of around 203,000 tons, while its identical twin, the Birch Empress, clocked in at 198,000 tons, still a massive feat. But what really sets them apart is their length. Both tankers stretched an incredible 1,252 feet long. The Emperor had a remarkable run, but its journey came to an end in 1986 when it was scrapped. In contrast, the Birch Empress kept on sailing for 8 whole years longer, making the most of its time at sea and earning itself a more extended legacy. Talk about making waves until the very end. Get ready to meet the record breaker from Britain's shipbuilding history. Let's dive into the story of Esso Northumbria, also known as Big Geordie, a true maritime marvel that set the bar high when it launched back in 1969. Built by the skilled hands at Swan Hunter, this colossal vessel was not only the largest to ever come out of British shipyards at the time, but also marked the beginning of an impressive series of crude carrier ships. With its massive dimensions, a length of 1,143 feet, a beam of 170 feet, and a draft of 84 feet, Esso Northumbria proudly showcased its 126,000-ton gross tonnage. And when it came to speed, this giant could cruise along at an impressive 16 knots, leaving the competition in its wake. Let's get real about Big Geordie's wild ride. Despite being a British record breaker and one of the largest vessels to sail the seas back in the day, Esso Northumbria's journey wasn't all smooth sailing. Literally, this massive supertanker, designed to carry crude oil from the Persian Gulf, was plagued by problems right off the bat. Its hull cracked under stress, forcing it into a series of costly repairs throughout its career. With safety concerns on the horizon and the risk of a major spill looming large, Esso Northumbria's operators made the tough call, retiring this giant just 12 short years after its 1969 launch. Eventually, Big Geordie was dismantled in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, marking the end of an era for this remarkable yet troubled vessel. Let's set sail for number 6. The SS Torrey Canyon. This incredible LR2 Suez Max-class oil tanker was built for adventure and access, designed to squeeze through the Suez Canal with ease. While many behemoth ships on our list get stuck in port due to size restrictions, the SS Torrey Canyon could navigate this critical waterway like a pro. With an impressive cargo capacity of 118,000 tons of crude oil, it was a true heavy hitter on the high seas. Its versatility and size made it a valuable player in global oil transportation. But what other secrets does its story hold? Get ready for a maritime mystery. The SS Torrey Canyon was owned by the Barracuda Tanker Corporation, flying the flag of Liberia, and built by the legendary Newport News Shipbuilding in October 1958. This mighty tanker measured an impressive 974 feet long and could cruise at a snappy 17.3 knots. But it's what happened next that makes her story truly unforgettable. In March 1967, disaster struck when she ran aground, causing one of the worst environmental catastrophes on our list. The impact was so severe that the ship sank, earning the title of largest vessel wrecked at the time, a sobering reminder of the importance of maritime safety and responsible navigation. Welcome to number 5, a true oddball of the ocean, Seoullsong. This name might remind you of a sleek luxury sailboat or a high-performance speedster. But don't be fooled, it's actually a mighty oil tanker, not your typical vessel. While most tankers have names that scream tough and rugged, this one takes a refreshing detour down the path less traveled. Let's dive into what makes Seoullsong so unique and find out more about its story. But here's the coolest part. Despite many of its peers meeting their fate at the shipbreaking yard, Seoullsong is still chugging along, proudly sailing under the Malta flag. As a crude oil tanker, it's on a mission to transport massive amounts of unrefined crude oil from drilling sites all around the world to those crucial oil refineries. This unsung hero of the ocean plays a vital role in getting that fuel to our gas stations and power plants. With an impressive 57,000 tons of gross tonnage under its belt, this hardworking tanker was built back in 2005 by Hyundai Heavy Industries in South Korea. Talk about a well-engineered ride. Let's shift gears to another fascinating tanker, Prairie Owl. This gal has an impressive backstory, folks. Built back in 1979 by Chantier de l'Estrie in Canada, Prairie Owl was one of the last of the legendary Battleless-class supertankers, commissioned by the company Nationale de Navigation. What makes her truly stand out, though? Prairie Owl's got a unique claim to fame. She's the only ship from her entire class that sailed strong for over a decade. That's a testament to her durability and the brilliant design of these vintage vessels. But here's where Prairie Owl gets really interesting. This tanker's got an identity crisis on its hands. During her long journey, she's had not one, not two, but 3 different names: Sea Brilliance, Heliphos, and finally the Sea Giant. And if that wasn't enough, she also changed ports of registry multiple times, from Le Havre to Panama City, then to Piraeus and even Monrovia. But don't let all this changing around fool you. Prairie Owl's also a record breaker. She was actually built as the 3rd largest ship in history, measuring an incredible 1,359 feet long, with a draft of 93 feet and cruising at a speed of 16 knots. Talk about making waves. Let's kick things off with one of the most infamous oil tankers in history, the Exxon Valdez. Launched on May 17, 1986, this massive ship was a real powerhouse, boasting specs that'll blow your mind. She measured 984 feet long, had a draft of 46 feet, and could cruise at an incredible 16 knots. But what really sets her apart is that when she was first built, the Exxon Valdez was actually the largest tanker in the world. Talk about making waves. So before we dive into what went wrong, let's give this record-breaking ship some credit where it's due. Get ready for a wild ride with the infamous Exxon Valdez. Originally launched in '86 by National Steel and Shipbuilding Company, this behemoth of a ship went through many names: Sea River, Mediterranean, Oriental Nicety. But one title it'll always be known by: environmental disaster waiting to happen. This oil tanker was no joke, clocking in at an insane 987 feet long with an incredible deadweight tonnage of 214,000 tons. But on that fateful day, March 24, 1989, the Exxon Valdez ran aground in Prince William Sound, Alaska, unleashing a devastating 11 million gallon oil spill into our precious oceans. And trust us, it's not pretty what happened next. The Exxon Valdez's fateful crash in Prince William Sound, Alaska, hit our planet with an ecological triple whammy. Not only was this spot a haven for incredible wildlife, but the massive oil spill also made it one of the worst environmental catastrophes in U.S. history. The devastation stretched over 1,300 miles of coastline, and the death toll was staggering: around 250,000 seabirds, 250 bald eagles, 300 harbor seals, and 22 killer whales lost their lives, just to name a few. Despite all this chaos, Exxon Valdez somehow survived the wreck and continued sailing under different names for years to come. Fast forward to 2012, Exxon Valdez finally retired after decades on the high seas. Its last bow was a beachside farewell as it prepared for dismantling. But let's switch gears and get ready to meet the real giants of the sea, the TI-class supertankers. These colossal vessels are the largest oil tankers still in action today, and they hold the record for being some of the biggest oil tankers our planet has ever seen. Can you believe it? Meet the impressive crew members of the TI-class supertankers. There's the TI Africa, TI Asia, TI Europe, and the majestic TI Oceania. These behemoths are operated by Tankers International LLC, which explains that TI in their name. Built by Daewoo Shipping and Marine Engineering, These oil giants were designed for Hellespont way back in 2003 at Okpo, South Korea. Can you imagine building something that massive 19 years ago? The TI-class supertankers stretch an incredible 1,247 feet long, weigh a staggering 234,000 tons, and hold the prestigious title of being the very first ultra-large crude carriers to set sail in over 2 decades. So you think you know your TI-class supertankers? Well, let's dive deeper. Although they share the same cool factor, each of these ultra-large crude carriers has its own unique personality. Let's kick it off with the TI Europe. This oil giant originally sailed under the name Hellespont Tara before being acquired by Euroave and VN Partners. Did you know that TI Europe is not only one of the biggest in the class, but she's also a speedster? This tanker boasts a massive 441,000 tons of gross tonnage and can outpace many of her size. Let's keep exploring our TI-class supertankers. The TI Asia, previously known as Hellespont Alhambra until a 2004 name change, has an impressive resume. Same massive size of 441,000 tons, just like her sisters. But here's where it gets interesting. She got a whole new lease on life when converted into a floating storage and offloading vessel. That's right, this tanker now helps pump oil directly from ships to terminals. And in this new role, she's been renamed FSO Asia, a true ship reborn. And we've got another similar story with the TI Africa, originally called Hellespont Metropolis before becoming FSO Africa. Both these converted tankers are still hard at work today. Now we've got a real star among our TI-class supertankers. Meet the TI Oceania, also known as Hellespont Fairfax back in the day. With an identical 441,000 tons of cargo capacity, this ship has been working hard since 2002. But here's what really sets her apart. She's a superstar. The Discovery Channel's hit show Super Ships gave viewers a close-up look at the Oceania's incredible operations, making her the most famous member of her crew. Or should we say, the fleet. The TI Oceania. Talk about a ship that stole the spotlight. She landed the starring role on Super Ships, leaving her sister ships TI Europe, Asia, and Africa in her wake. Why was she chosen for this TV fame? Maybe it was just her charisma at sea. Whatever the reason, it's undeniable now that this supertanker is the most famous of them all. But let's not forget there are more where that came from. These TI-class behemoths are the largest oil tankers currently ruling the seas. And we've got an even bigger one in store for you next. Get ready to meet the Seawise Giant. Get ready to meet the true giant of the seas, Seawise Giant. Also known as the Knocknivis, Yahir Viking, or Happy Giant, this colossal ship is the largest ultra-large crude carrier that has ever sailed our oceans. Built by Sumitomo Heavy Industries in the late 1970s, Seawise Giant was a game-changer, setting an unbeatable record for deadweight tonnage, a staggering number that's still talked about today. When fully loaded with cargo, she displaced an incredible 657,000 tons of water, making her the undisputed champion of the seas. Buckle up as we dive deeper into this massive marvel and explore what makes her so extraordinary. Let's break down the mind-blowing stats of Seawise Giant. This behemoth measures an astonishing 1,504 feet long, 225 feet wide, and has a draft of 80 feet. That's like stacking almost 100 school buses on top of each other. But despite her massive size, she managed to have quite the comeback story after being sunk during the Iran-Iraq War back in 1988. Think she was done for? Think again. Seawise Giant rose from the depths and sailed once more, serving the world's oceans until 2009. Although she met her final fate in 2010 when she was scrapped, this incredible ship still holds multiple records, solidifying its legendary status as one of the most impressive tankers to have ever sailed our seas. And the cherry on top, Seawise Giant holds not just one, but two Guinness World Records. She's the longest ship ever constructed, stretching an incredible 1,000 504 feet long, and she's also the